search.
All right, with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and start. We start on time, we end on time, wherever possible. And for those that are online, that are listening, this is Rob Gillespie and Andy Casper. And Andy's got the PowerPoint out and up and ready to show. So with that in mind, I'll turn the time over to Andy. I'm just going to be more or less participating and monitoring and being here to answer questions that somebody might have along the way. And then Andy's going to do the presentation today, and he's got a PowerPoint that he's going to show you and use that as the guide for our session. So with that in mind, I'll turn the time over to Andy Casper, and we will proceed.
Okay. All right, so let's step through our agenda today. We're going to discuss what SharePoint is. We're going to go through the creation of a SharePoint site today. I'll show you what kind of templates SharePoint comes with and what you can start off as your building point. We'll look at a team site, which I think is probably the most common and most easy to use site to start with. We'll check out document centers, how they're used, what's involved. Take a look at the calendaring feature and tasks in SharePoint. We'll look at the team discussions, which is like a forum for SharePoint. And then we'll take a look at lists and customizing lists. All right, so SharePoint, what is it? It's tough to answer that question, actually. SharePoint is, I kind of refer to it as an imagination software. The reason why I do that is because once you get into it, you'll realize that it's as adaptive as you are as far as what you want to make it do. SharePoint is collaboration software, and that's fundamentally what it was built for. But because of its customization features, you can make it do and show a lot of data that you might be doing, using other methods for. Let's say you're using Excel or things like that, passing an Excel document around the office via email. SharePoint can take that out, put it in a centralized location, and where you can display the data out to everybody, and then have control over who can view that data and to what level they can manipulate it. With SharePoint, you've got lots of features as far as your design and how you build it out. You start with a primary site. You can build numerous sub-sites. You can customize any list inside of SharePoint, and pretty much any web part you see, and I'll explain what a web part is here in a little bit. You can adapt, adjust, show, or hide, and provide any level of detail you need to with these various web parts, all using the built-in domain security that you already have. So you can use groups that already pre-exist and assign security to those, or you can go ahead and even do your own separate security model. SharePoint also can replace shared folders and documents storage out on servers. The document libraries actually store the documents in the database, which provides an easier way to back these documents up, and also gives you control over, again, who can view the document, if they can edit the document. It gives you a checkout, check-in utility so that once someone is editing that document, it can't be edited by another person at that time. It also will allow you to get alerts when a document is changed or updated. We can even do workflows. So if someone goes in, changes the document, but you want to make sure higher up approves that before it's actually committed, we can then send an email notification, have them come back, review the document, and approve it, or send it back to the person who made the adjustments and have corrections made. Enterprise Search is a built-in search utility within SharePoint, and this allows you to search the entire site. There's a lot of configuration that goes into it, but this really gives your users the ability to search through quickly all of the data they have access to. So they can just pop in if they're looking for a particular document and they have access to it. This search will pull it right up. SharePoint can be used for an extranet site. In general, you would use this for your vendors. Maybe if you've got large customers, they want to check orders, things like that, you could provide that information on an extranet type of level. Record management is really where lists come into play, and we'll show you the lists and how you customize those. But if you think of them as kind of like a spreadsheet with a whole bunch of sorting, editing, and modification options, that's really, these lists can get as far as you can take your imagination with them. You can really go crazy with them. Web content management. If you already have web content out on your network, maybe you already have an intranet or something along those lines, you can publish that into SharePoint. So you can take all the features that come with SharePoint and all those configurations and put your existing web content in there so it's all seamless, works all together. SharePoint could, again, be used as your internet presence. I would restrict this to something like vendors or people or companies that you're doing direct work with. I wouldn't necessarily make this your company homepage. It's really not what it's intended for. But you definitely could have people coming in to take a look at maybe what's going on with the company, what's going on with their sales, or something along those lines. And there's just another note to indicate this is not an e-commerce solution. It's really not meant for sales or anything along those lines. You might be able to adapt it to do some of that functionality, but it's really not going to perform for you as an e-commerce solution. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the creation of a SharePoint site, and I'll show you during this process some of the templates that we're going to be using. Let's click over here. All right, so this is SharePoint Central Administration. When you install SharePoint, this is the first website you'll see. It'll actually take you to it right after the installation. Just a quick side note on the install. SharePoint is free. Everything we're looking at here today is free. The software is free. You can go download it. Just search for SharePoint 3.0. What you need for it is an IIS web server. And if you have a SQL database, you can point SharePoint to that database, but you don't even have to have that. It comes with a SQL Express version that you can utilize built right into the product. So in SharePoint administration, to create a new site, I'm going to Application Management, and we're going to create a site collection here. Oh, yeah, let me go ahead and out here. I like you.
We had a discussion about that before. He wanted to leave it on because he's going to show you something, but I thought, let's show this and then turn off the music. But thank you for making that observation.
Is that better? Yeah.
Actually, it's still there.
Is it?
Yeah. You just turn it right off.
All right.
Yeah.
Kill all of it.
We do record these sessions so they're playable, and also I notice you quickly taking notes over there for those that are online. And we will publish this presentation out on the web portal, so you can come and get it. That's just our typical MO for doing the launch. We're good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. Sorry about that. Okay, so I really quickly, I want to show you this Creator Extend web application. This really has to do with the websites in IIS. When you create your first one, you'll select a website that you either have created or you can create one from in here, and then you have sites underneath that website. So let's go in and we'll take a look at the site creation. My server here is called Tinker. I let my 9-year-old daughter name it. She is reading Tinkerbell books right now, so that's what we got. So in here I can title this anything I want, and this really is going to go back to the design aspect of it. I'm trying to decide what this is going to be. In this case, we're going to call this our intranet. And this I would have in mind for the primary site that all of my people go to when they open up their web browser. I want them to see company information, have access to some documents that everybody needs to look at, some basic data to get started. This URL is where we can actually put this under a subsites category if we want to. This is how you would build it out if you're having multiple sites as you go, but we're going to make this the root. We're going to make this the primary site. And I want to show you each one of these templates. I have one of these built on this server already so that we can take a look at it. The team site is my favorite to start with because I think it incorporates all of the major features that you'll get the most use out of right away. Let's take a look at a team site here real quick. This is our team site. This is raw, just right out of the build. And in here we've got a document center where we can come in and upload all of our documents here, get rid of maybe one of our file shares out on the network. We've got a built-in calendar ready for use in whatever we see fit. This could be a time-off calendar for your employees. This could be a conference room calendar, something along those lines. We've got basic tasks. These tasks can be assigned to individuals, and we can add a web part on the main page that as they log in, they'll see only the tasks that are assigned to them. So if that may include updating a document in the document center or maybe any task around the office that they need to complete, and this will allow you to keep track of what's going on. So you could have a view where you see everyone's tasks. They would see just their own tasks and help them organize and work through those. And then finally, it has a team discussion area. In the team discussion area, like I said, it's very much like a forum. You can post questions, respond, and they'll be detailed here in succession as you go down, so you can keep track of discussions. And this is really handy in a project type of site. So if you created a sub-site that was specifically for a project, you might have a document center for that project, and then a discussion area where you might have folks from consultants that are working on the project versus your internal people, maybe even a vendor that can all be a part of this and collaborate and communicate through the project to completion.